Hi guys, it's Miriam here from Sweet Creations, just waiting on the video here to load up. Hope everybody's doing well. Happy Sunday to everybody. I am just lining up to do my next demonstration, which is going to be, I'm going to be doing these for maybe a little while on the Sunday nights around 8 p.m. So you can pop it into your diary if you fancy joining me. I can see a few of you guys on already. Sharon, hi, Maxine, Margaret, Swati, how are you all? Hope everybody's keeping well. An awful lot has changed in the last couple of days, I guess. I'm based here in Ireland, obviously. We have gone into lockdown on Friday now. I've been kind of keeping away from everybody for the last 2 weeks anyway, and literally only posting orders. Hi Brian, literally only posting orders as and when I need to. So I'm kind of getting used to it. So yeah, a lot has changed in the last week, I guess, since I was talking to you guys. But you know, we'll get through this. That's the main thing. My aim is to get through it with all my friends and all my family and everybody that I know healthy and well. That's my aim. So hopefully everybody is doing okay. 2 people that I know now have got it, unfortunately. So you know, fingers crossed for those guys that everything will be okay. So you know, we will get there. Hi Carol, great to see you there. Jacinta, Jan, Jan's in, so she is. So yeah, I won't kind of darken anything. This is just, you know, our bit of free time, an hour away from everything that's going on, and we can make some sugar flowers together. As always, I have a small bit of a delay with the computer and with the phone just syncing up. So when I see your comments, Selena, how are you doing, darling? When I do see your comments and that, I will answer them as quickly as possible. If I don't see the questions popping up, and just with a little bit of a delay that's on the computer here, if I don't see your questions popping up, I will go back through all the comments at the very end, and I'll answer any of the questions. So just keep asking your questions and keep on popping up any comments here, and I will see them. I promise you I'll see them all. So yeah, I did put up a post earlier on in the week as to what flowers people would like to see me demonstrate. Absolutely happy out to demonstrate them. I have a list forming and it is growing, which is fantastic. I will get through them all, and I'll keep on adding to it as well. So tonight, this is the flower here that we're going to be doing. So it's a Cosmos flower. Okay, and this is actually one I've taught this in a few classes, but I actually thought then, you know, it would be nice as well for people to sort of a refresher, I guess, for anybody that has done it. And you'll see here on it, I have I've made, hi Martin, hi Dawn, I've seen everybody, Nicola O'Shea, my little buddy, so it's a good refresher then as well for you guys to do it. So this is how I make the Cosmos flowers, and I'm going to show you how I make all the little the spiky pieces here in the center. So right from start to finish. All right, and obviously the Cosmos, if you Google them or, you know, have a look on Pinterest, of course, is great, and you'll always see lots of different varieties. They're really good. Really good. Sandra, hi, thank you so much. I'm really enjoying it. Siobhan Buckley, how are you going, my darling? I mentioned you last week. I was mentioning you that I had made the rose with you. So look, let me put this aside. Let me get started for it, and I'll just get everybody going. Feel free as well, guys, to share the video on any of your groups if you want to do that. My computer has decided that it's just freezing here on me, which is great timing. It's been working all week, and 8 o'clock Sunday night, it's deciding to slow down a bit. But never mind, we will get there. We've gotten through bigger battles than this. We'll get through this one as well. Okay, so let me just pop you down here and I will get you started. All right, so just 2 minutes. Okay, so just want to be sure that you guys can see the work area that I'm in. I'm just... Whoopee. Okay, so once you can see here, hopefully you guys can see exactly where I am, because like I say, my computer has now frozen on me. So I'll just get started and just hopefully you can see it. So this is my my website here now. As we're in lockdown, I won't be posting orders out for the next 2 weeks. I can post, and the postal system is working, but you know, I think in respect to the safety of postal and delivery people and everything like that, I've decided I won't be posting out any orders until it'll be the 13th of April, so it'll be 2 weeks time. So just be aware that if anybody is ordering anything, it's not worth the risk. Nothing is worth the risk. Okay, so bear that in mind. So the paste that I'm using this is my own flour paste here, which I made. I developed this recipe about a year and a half ago now, I think, and I make it in 18 different colours. It comes in a 250 gram pot, and it's very soft. I know a good few of you have tried it, and there was lots of orders actually from all over the world all week. It was fantastic. So thank you so much. Be sure to post up the pictures of the flours that you're making, and let me see how you're going, and let me see what you think. So this is the flour paste that I use. It's the Sweet Creations brand of flour paste. All right. So to start on the Cosmos, what we do is I'm just going to show you the little bits of tools and equipment that I'm going to be used. Very expensive equipment. We've got lots of different products here, and I will talk you through this. I'm going to bring you through this step by step of everything that we're going to do. Okay, so all right, so the first thing that I want to do is I want to make the centers of the flour. Okay, and what I'm using here is the wires that we buy, the florist wires that we buy. They'll come in packs of, it will be packs of 50 to packs of 100. Okay, each packet will have a number on it. Okay, and these are the ones that I'm going to use for the petals. So each packet will have a number of it. And for anyone that's new to flour making, the flours will normally start at about at 18 gauge. They'll work up to 20, 22, 24, 26, and they'll work up in all the different gauges. The higher the number, the finer the wire. Okay, so that's important to know. So for example, if I was doing a very large flour, I would actually I would use an 20 or 22 gauge, I guess. It's just, you want something, the weight, the thickness of the wire that you use will determine, it'll depend on the weight of the flour that you're going to be doing. So for a larger flour, you want a slightly heavier wire, obviously, that'll be able to hold the petal. All right. So to make the centers of the flour, what I do with the wires is they come in a 14-inch length. Okay, so what I do is I cut it into lengths of maybe 4 or 5, depending on what I'm making. So I'll cut each wire. I just use my snips. I cut each wire into 4 or 5 lengths, if you understand. All right, so it just depends on what you're making. I'd never leave it as a full length. All right, so what I have here is, this is a 24 gauge wire, and I've just cut my wire length into 4, and then I have made a small little hook. Can you see on the back of it? Yeah, so I've made a small little hook at the top of it. Okay, so that's my starter there of me. Just give me 2 seconds, guys, because everything has just frozen here on me for some reason, and I just want to be certain that I can see your messages. My whole system has frozen. Okay, I will come back if there's any questions. Martina, yeah, your internet's playing up. My internet is just, the last few days, I think it's just on literally on a freeze. I think it's probably sick of everything, so it is. But however, it will come back. So let me just do the demonstration. If I can see questions, I'll get back to them as quickly as I possibly can. So this is the first thing that I need here. Then what I need is, I want to use thread. Now you can use whatever thread that you want. It obviously depending on the color of the center that you are going to make. Okay, so I would kind of buy thread in all sorts of different colors. Basically just so as I have a variety, because quite often then you're trying to match maybe colors for a cake or colors for a wedding or something like that. So I would generally have a whole thing. Can you guys just let me know, can you see me and hear me okay? I really hope you can, because everything is just gone here on me at the moment, of course. if you're doing competition work, so if you're making flowers for competition work, you must absolutely be certain that your thread is cotton. Most competitions will only allow you to use cotton thread, okay, and it must be 100% cotton. Now it can be quite difficult to get, so generally if I find it, and it is expensive enough, but generally if I find it, I will get a couple of different thanks Brian, you can hear. So if I would buy a few different colours of it, but yeah, if you're doing competition work, so I compete every year at the Irish Sugarcraft. If I would compete at the Irish Sugarcraft show, and then I also compete at Birmingham, and you know, so I always have a kind of a good selection of it. So to start on it then, what I do is I've got my wire here with the hook on the end of it. I take my thread, and how I make the centers of it, so you should be able to see the centers here. So you see these centers. Okay, Jacinta, thank you, all good. I'm now having to look upside down at the phone to see if I can see everybody's comment. I'm so sorry. Okay, so the center of it, what I do is I take my thread, so whatever color that you want, all right, I'm wrapping the thread around my 2 fingers. Don't wrap it too tight, you don't want blue fingers, okay. So I'm wrapping the thread, keep on wrapping it around, okay. So keep going so many times. It's up to you. The more you wrap around, the fuller obviously that it's going to be. All right. Zlatina, I can see you there. Hello, my darling. Hope you're home and safe by now and everything's okay for you. Okay, so we take the thread then, we've wrapped it around our fingers, I don't know, 20 or 30 times, something like this. All right. Just give me 1 second. And let me just see, can I get this? I apologize, guys. If you've joined me, my whole computer has just crashed here and decided that it now doesn't want me to be on. The cheek of it, imagine. So let me just try and get it back up so at least I can see you guys live on it. Just give me 2 seconds. Talk among yourselves. Talk among yourselves. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. What a nightmare. I think everybody's been having trouble. So, let me see if I can get in. All right. I'm so sorry. Hi. So, sorry about that, guys. All right, I think I'm probably in. Mairead, thank you. I can see it there, I think. So what I've done here is I've wrapped the thread around my fingers so many times. Slip it off your fingers then. And what you want to do now, I'll just hold this on the whiteboard. It should be easier to see. So what I want to do now is that I want to just turn it so I get like a figure 8. Okay, if this, you should see here, figure 8. So give that a twist. Fold it back up, so one loop now folds on the other. So you might think at the start that you're twisting this around your fingers and it's going to look like the stamens are very long. So you fold it into the figure 8, throw one loop back on the other. Now what I do is I thread my wire in through those threads. Okay, just let me open that a wee bit. So thread that in. Okay, so you get the wires now are on the hook. Okay, like this. And what I want to do then is I want to just press that in, and I want to just put on a bit of tape, so this is going to secure all the threads on the wire. Okay, so give that a few spins. All right, and just get this good and secure on it. Hi Liz, how are you guys? I am just, if you've joined me, my whole computer has just crashed literally on me, but I am live on the phone, so you'll be able to hear me and see me, I hope. But I can't see nothing of any of you guys, so I don't know what's happening here on it. Facebook is just acting the maggot. Imagine, waited here all week and now it does this. Okay, So you've got your tape on there, you've got your threads on, and they're nice and secure on it. Make sure they're nice and tight. And what I've done is I've brought, the hook is here, but I've brought the tape up slightly, so it's just come up a little bit above. All right, so it's nice and tight. What you want to do now is you want to get yourself a nice fine scissors and cut through those loops at the top, okay? Okay, so, and then I will just hold it between my fingers, and I want to just give it a little bit of a haircut. So if I hold it between my fingers, it kind of goes nice and flat, and I can get a nice haircut, you know. God, I'd love a haircut. I can get it nice and tight. I'm actually getting close to the stage that I might just give it an old chop myself. No one's going to see me for about a month anyway, are they? I'm kind of getting close to that. Okay, so you just get it nice and level. So don't worry once you put on the tape that you think it's going to look all scraggly at the top. That's fine. So you see, once you give it that little haircut, you can, Slatine, you're not home yet, God almighty. So you're going to get it nice and level on the top. All right. Now you can fill, I wound that around my finger maybe 20 times, 25 times thereabouts. And this is how full it's getting. Okay. So, it's up to you. If you want to make it a little bit fuller, then you can make it fuller. That's entirely up to yourself. All right. And what I would normally do is I would actually make these in a whole lot of different colors, so that I have basically just a selection of them there. Do you know that? So then when I do want to come and I want to make some flowers, they're already done. So you see here, I do these while I'm sitting chatting to my mother-in-law or sitting chatting to myself sometimes. So just that I have a whole selection of it. This one here is just some little kind of glitter stamens and everything. You know, so there's lots of different colours, and obviously the lime green would actually be one of my favourites, this colour here. Okay, so once you have this threads on the wire at least, what you want to do then is, now generally when I'm making this, I will make it and I'll make all that and just make sure you get no threads obviously on your work area. Okay, so just turn the foam pad upside down to be certain of it. What I'm going to do then is I just want to put the pollen onto the stamens. All right, so what I have here, this is just my edible glue, and my pollen, I make it in, I've got 5 different colours I think. So there's green, red, there's white, there's a kind of like a fleshy kind of colour one of browns, the black, there's a few different colours of it. So it just comes in a little small container, and this is, I mean, it lasts for years really and truly, so it does. Okay, so what I do is I will take the stamens that I've just made, I'll just give them a little bit of a dance on the top of it, because I want to be certain that they're not all kind of clumped together on me. All right. Okay. Okay, and then I will take the stamens and I will just dip it into the glue, the edible glue. Oh shit. I want to be certain that okay. Dip it into the glue. I'm so sorry, having a little bit of a nightmare here. Okay, dip it into the glue, literally that it's just on the surface of the glue. Now, if it's a thing that I've gone a little small bit deep in here, that's okay. Just fluff that out a small bit more. Okay. Oh my God, guys, I have you here on the computer. Yay, my friends. I went to a pub quiz last night. It was a virtual one online, and I got to see my friends I haven't seen in weeks. And it was pretty good fun. Okay. So Zlatina, all my Bulgarian friends are watching you. Okay, I've got this, guys. I'm so sorry. All right. So now I've dipped it in glue, and I'm dipping it now into the pollen. So you can see, now normally what I would do on this is, let me just show you on the white. Normally what I would do is I do kind of contrasting colours. So for example, this is the red thread, and then I've dipped it into the lime green pollen, you know, just so it's a nice contrast on it. Dip that in. If you find that there's a little bit of a clumping there on it, you can just give it a small bit of a tease out, but actually the Cosmos stamens, they're quite tight, so they are in it. All right, and that's all you do. That's your stamens done. You can do this for lots of different flowers, for your blackberries, and for, you know, there's lots and lots of different flowers that are a thready stamen, and fine stamens are very, very hard to find. So it's nice if you can make your own, and also if it's for, as I say, a competition or something like that, you might want very specific colours, so it is good to make your own on it. All right, so that's how I make the centers. And like I say, what I do is I would do a whole selection. So here I've got my red thread, green thread, I've got, you know, all sorts of different colors. And as I said at the beginning, if it's a thing you're doing this for the competition, make 100% certain that it's 100% cotton, because the polyester threads are not allowed for the competitions. Okay, so that's your centers, and I will make these and I'll leave it alone then to dry, so when I'm ready for it, then it's ready, it's there and it's good. And especially if you're doing cakes on, say, a commercial basis, then you want to have a little bit, you want to have a bit of prep done ahead of time. For the petals, then what we're doing, and I like to put about 8 petals on my Cosmos at least. I just think they look a little bit fuller on it, but you can do between 6 and 8. So I'm just switching boards over here. This here is a veining board, all right. Now there are lots and lots of different veining boards that you can get. This particular one, it's old and battered, it's like myself. So this particular one has 4 different grooves in it, and what you will see, you should see, yeah, you can see there. So what you will see is that you will, the different grooves, when you look at this closely, there are different depths. Okay, so this one here is nice and fine, and this one is deeper. So just depending on what you're doing, what sort of flower that you're doing. If it was a bigger, heavier leaf or a bigger, heavier petal, you would use the thicker vein. So it just depends on what you're doing on it. All right, so then what I want to do is I want to take my flower paste. Now, some people, if you're new to flowers or you're new to Sugarcraft or that, the difference is sugar paste is what you do. Who's Latina? Yeah, I feel old this week, I can tell you. I've aged about 10 years. So the difference is your sugar paste, your rollout icing, your fondant icing, they would be names used for the icing that you roll out and you cover your cake with. So it doesn't set hard. It doesn't set, it will always have a little bit of a softness in it. You can use sugar paste for some sugar flowers that you'd be doing, like smaller ones. But for the likes of these guys here, where you want them to set and we want to wire the petals, we want them to stand alone, you must use a flower paste. The difference in it, in flower paste to sugar paste, is it has a higher level of gum in it, so it will set harder and it will dry like China. It is more fragile. Dependent, there's lots and lots of different brands, really is lots of different brands, and there's lots of different mediums, but it will set harder for you, and then it will be able to stand alone, so it will be a petal that can stand on its own there. So I just take a small bit of the paste out, I mean half, probably this here would probably make me 2 flowers, I would say, so it really is a tiny little bit. My flower paste comes in 200-gram pots, and I'm often asked, you know, how many flowers to get out of a pot. Well, it's completely dependent on the sugar crafter. Personally, out of a 200-gram pot, which is this size here, I can get 20 roses. Okay, so it just completely depends on your hand and how you make them, how thick or how fine you make them. When you take your paste out of the pot, and it's the same with any any flower paste that you're using. Now you can also use this for modelling, for little models and figurines. It will work beautifully, and some of the girls that are on there use it for like making little cake toppers. I know Mairead made a beautiful pram, Molly Pop cakes. She made a beautiful pram there not so long ago using it. When you start using it first, it's quite short, so you can see. And what you need to do is you need to work it and knead it. Now you see how it starts to become a little bit stringy. So you're basically, Mairead, thank you. So you're basically warming up the gums in it, and you're getting that stretch back into the flower paste. Okay, so you'll always work this. Now, if it's a thing like, for example, I was making roses yesterday with this paste, so I've already kneaded it up, but every time I go to the pot, take a bit out, I will give it a little bit of a knead. You just need to condition that paste a little small bit for yourself. All right. Take off then just a little small bit of paste. So this will be too much, but I'll just take off a little small bit and it'll be easier for you to see. And what I do then is I'm working on this board here, which is my veining board, okay? And I'm going to place it down on the smallest vein. So just to show you again, this lad here, you can make out that they're just different different depths, okay? So I'm just going on the smaller vein here, pop it down over the vein, roll it up, and I roll out then in all directions. Now, how fine you go now at this point is completely up to you. When you're just starting out on flowers, I would say to you that, you know, give yourself, go a little bit thicker until you get used to handling it and everything. Obviously, the finer you go, the nicer that the petal, you know, and the finer that it looks. So I've gone straight up on it. What I want then is I want to take, this is one of my Cosmos cutters, and I have these in kind of sets of 3. There's 3 different sizes in it. So again, it just depends what you're using or what you're making. I'm popping that down now. The vein is center up, or the vein is center up through the petal. So I'm just popping that down. I use now an acrylic square, and I use these all the time because sometimes the cutters can be twisted or your boards can be a bit twisted. So the acrylic square will cut that down, give it a nice clean cut on it for you. Okay. Now what I do is I hold the cutter and I lift the paste up and over. Okay. So then I can be certain I'm getting a much cleaner cut. And I'm trying to make sure that this is left on my board. Just, you can insert the wire now freehand. Carol, that's the middle cutter that I've just used here. Mary, yes, the cutters are on my website there. So they are, my website, sweetcreations.ie. But please be assured that we're in lockdown in Ireland at the moment. So there will be a delay on posting them out. Just to be fair on postal workers, I'm not going to post for 2 weeks. Just out of respect for them. So I will hold orders. I just think it's safer on everybody. I opened the shop on the 2nd of March and I closed it 2 weeks later, and now everything's in limbo. But however, we'll get there. So I'm turning my board now 90 degrees. I'm using now a wire. Now I keep these pots, you know, the pots that you get from the, someone tell me, the Tylo. Okay, so what I do is I hold these pots so that then I can keep any wires in them. So if I have little extra ones, they're there in the pot and they're not falling all over the place. One little tip for you: when you're cutting your wires, always cut them on a 45-degree angle. Okay, don't cut straight. Cut out at 45, and what that means then is on the end of it, you've got a little pinprick on the end of it, so to make this job much easier. I put the acrylic square down onto over the petal. It does 2 things: keeps it fresh while I'm working, and also then when I go to insert the wire, so what I do is I dip the wire into a small bit of glue, take off any excess on the back of your hand. Okay, so be sure you don't have a whole lot of glue here. That's going to be your enemy, because if you do, it just gets into a sticky mess. So always get into that habit. You end up with a bit of an old crusty backhand, but however, we'll get over that. Hopefully that should be better for you guys. So what I'm doing then is I'm just holding my finger over the petal and popping in the wire, push. I want to just be certain, and because these acrylics are see-through, I can see where I am. So I just want to push and twist, and I can see the petal, the wire now is about 1/3 of the way up. If you're not comfortable in this, go in a little small bit further. If you think the wire is coming out, just pull it back out, go up that center, okay, and just push and twist. So that's all I'm doing, and the acrylic holds it in place for you then as well. All right, now I want to just lift that off. Okay, now let me show you. If it's a thing that your wire has poked out of the petal a small little bit, so sometimes that can happen, all right, and it'll poke out. So what you can do is, where this is poked out here, I'm just getting my angle tweezers I'm giving that a little bit of a pinch, pushing it back down into it, okay? And just to make sure, so you're not going to waste the petal and you don't need to start again, because the other thing is every time you, Anya, yes, the acrylic blocks are on my website, okay, and the cutters and veiners are on the website, Mary as well, yeah, they are indeed. So every time you roll and work your paste, you're drying it a little small bit. That's why we only work in very small batches as well, in very small pieces, because if you're doing these for a while, and you're doing, say, a whole lot of petals, what'll happen is if you start to roll out big pieces of paste, it'll dry, and every time you put it back in, it's just drying out on you kind of the whole time. So if you just work on small little pieces, it's always fresher and it's much easier to work. All right, so that's all I've done there. So I've rolled it out on the vein, on the finest one that's there, okay, and then I've inserted in my wire. What I want to do now is, these are the little Cosmos veiners, okay. So I'm placing the petal now down on the veiner. I'm going to pop the, and now I don't use a lot of corn flour, as you can see. If I don't need it, I don't use it. I've got kind of cold hands anyway, so I'm not too bad. But if I don't need it, I don't use it, because if you use it, you've got to get rid of it. Do you know? So it's just easier if I don't need it. Okay. Press down on it. Don't go too hard. This is sugar paste. Or flour paste at least. It's not concrete. Okay, so don't press down too hard on it. Press that down. You get the little veins on the petal. Okay. Always when you're lifting this off, lift from the base up. Don't, if you peel it down this way, you're likely to poke the wire through the paste. So lift that off onto your foam pad. Okay. And again, there are dozens of different types of foam pads. Now I bring in ball tools, and let me just talk to you about ball tools. You can also use the cell stick here for this. I have a sort of a selection of ball tools. Hola Elizabeth from Peru. Hi guy, I hope you guys are well. So I have a selection of different ball tools. My personal preference is, and I'm not telling you, and I'm saying here, this is how I work. It's not that it's law or that it's how you have to work. You will develop your own techniques, and that's what we should all do. You'll find what's comfortable with you. My personal favorite is that I prefer steel ball tools over the plastic ones, because quite often I found on the plastic ones is that you might have a seam on them, you know, where they're molded, and there can often be a seam on them. The stainless steel ones, particularly if you're in a hot country, or particularly if you're somewhere with high humidity, the plastic ones can be harder to work. The steel ones are always colder. That's just my personal preference. I just prefer steel. This is my small big gun. I've got a bigger big gun. This one I use for like where I don't want too frilly of a petal, because it's a very weighted ball tool. Okay. So I use this where I don't want too much frill. If I want to go in little frilly bits, I will use the smaller ones, and I've got these down to fine, you know, the ones that are like a needle point on the end of it. Greetings for Holland, Tanya. Hi, Marion, never late to the party, lovey. You're always here on time. So lovely to see everybody, and so many. Helen, how are you? You haven't missed too much, Helen. My whole computer has frozen on me, so I can see comments popping up, but I can't see what I'm doing, which might be no harm, because there's always a delay on the computer, so it's quite hard to coordinate the two, but I'm doing the best that I can. All right, so I'm taking a middle size. This is actually my favorite ball tool. I don't know where I got it. It's fallen from some stuff that I bought, you know, these kind of hi from Dubai. Wow, we're really international tonight. This is amazing. Hi Karen. Yeah, so this has fallen from somebody's offcast that quite often here in Ireland we have sale pages, so if people aren't using equipment or anything like that, they sell their things, and I think that's where this has come from. But just keep an eye. Steel ball tools, I think, are probably better. What I'm going to do now is I just want to soften all the edges, so I'm half on the paste and half off. So hopefully you can see here, so half on, half off. Okay, and I'm not really putting any pressure on here. I'm just softening that edge, because what you don't want to see is you don't want that cut edge. Okay, now the top part of it here, I want to just soften that a little bit more. Okay, Just let me, okay. So soften that. You're okay if you can see, that you can see, okay. So we just want to soften that a little bit more. It's not too frilly. It's not too frilly of a flower. And that's your petal made. All right. Now, I use some very expensive drying tools here. Very expensive pieces. I do have one that's meant for the job, but these are equally as good, and actually I use these more than I use anything. So I couldn't afford the handle of the spoon, so I just got the spoon, but that's the main part. This piece here is just a tinfoil former. My husband actually made these for me. So I cut a square tinfoil, cut 2 squares of tinfoil at least the same size, and what he did then was he got a Christmas bauble and he just pressed it down onto it and makes that little cup shape. I use these for rose petals actually all the time, and I use them for the cosmos. This is one of the polystyrene ones. You know those sets that you can get with like all the different size polystyrene ones in it? They're brilliant, they're really good, but you only get 2. Or of each size at least. There's 4 or 5 sizes on it and you only get 2 of them, so you do. I couldn't afford the handle, that is the truth, Darren. Actually, the handle's probably gone to make a shape for something else, if the truth was told. So what I do is, once I've done my petal, I've frilled it and I've veined it about, I'm going to then pop it into the spoon. And this wire that I'm using here, I should have said it's white wire and it is a 28 gauge. Okay, so it's a small, fine petal, so you don't need a thick, heavy wire. Little tip for you, if you're making flowers and if you're finding that the wire keeps on poking through the petal, your wire is too thick, drop a size, okay? And the rule on the petals is, or the rule on the wires at least, is the higher the number, the finer the wire. So they'll start at 18, they'll go all the way up to 33, 35 is the ultimate. They're the gold dust ones that I buy every year at Birmingham, and nobody's allowed to go near them or touch them. They're for the fine work, like your finest little leaves and everything. Coming in. So I'll make this, I'll leave it sit now so it will catch that curve or sit in the former, whichever you want to do on it, and leave it there to catch it. Okay, going back to the plastic spoons there, the real professionals have a square board and they glue them to the board, so then you've got a line up for it. But you know, I just wing it and I just pop them on this way. So when they are dry then, and generally I prefer to leave them to dry overnight, okay? Sometimes what people do is that they actually make the petals and they dust them while they're fresh. You can do that, and actually I was watching a tutorial yesterday and they were, I might just make a second petal very quickly for you if you'd like, because I know some people are just catching in on it now. So I'll just make a second one. But yes, some people, what they do is they make the petals and they dust them while they're wet. And actually I made roses yesterday just following from a tutorial that I was watching. And it's, do you know, while this is all very hard and everything, you know, we're all in the one canoe, we're all in the one creek. That's the way I see it. But actually, it's not that I'm enjoying it, but I have time now, and I'm getting time, and I'm taking time to make flowers. I made roses yesterday, which were new technique, a tutorial that I was watching, and I'm getting time to do that. I never get time because it's just a chase from morning to night with me. So now I'm getting time to try new techniques, and that's how I'm looking at it. Once we come out healthy and well and we all come out of this together, let's just use it to upskill and to learn new techniques. So just to make a very quick second petal for you, I've taken here another piece of the flower paste, and again this is the pink flower paste, my own Sweet Creations flower paste. I'm rolling that down, I'm popping it down onto my veining board, just on the finest vein. When you look at this, if you actually look square on, you can see there's the veins, the grooves that are in the board are different depths. Okay, so go on the finest one. And how do you know which one to go on? It'll depend on the thickness of the petals. So if you're doing a rose petal leaf, so it would be very, very fine, and as our cosmos actually, but it would be very fine. You don't want a big thick vein on it because that's going to show through. So you want to go on a fine one. If I was doing, for example, a begonia leaf, maybe, they're thick and they're fleshy. So I would use the thicker vein on a thicker groove, deeper groove at least. All right. But you will, this video will be saved to my page, so you'll be able to go back over and watch the whole thing. All right. Place my cutter. So this is my cutter here. All right. Just Cosmos cutter. Place that down. Then what I do is I put the acrylic block down over that, because as I say to you, quite often my boards are twisted or cutters are twisted, particularly if you're doing a big petal, they're often twisted. Press that down so you get a nice clean cut. Lift the paste up and over the petal, okay? Because if you try and drag it out, you can end up getting those little rough edges and those burrs. And actually that's the thing, if you do a petal and you get the rough edges on it, leave it alone till it's dry, and if you just rub your finger on the edges of it, then it will get rid of all the cut edges for you, okay? Another little thing for you, I prefer, hands down, I prefer metal cutters. You want to clean them every single time after you've used them, and once you're finished, you want to clean them every time. So just rub your finger across it, because the acid in the sugar will cause them to rust, okay? So you just want to be aware that you clean them down. If it's a thing you come across, cutters that maybe have gotten a little bit of rust on the edges of them, what you want to do is you want to get yourself a clean emery board and just cross, and it will just kind of sharpen up those edges and clean them all off for you, so that you get you want to get it always nice and clean, because obviously you don't want rust, obviously, but if there's little bits of sugar left on it, you'll never get a clean cut, okay? So just get into that habit, give it an oil rub down every time. What I'm doing then is I'll show you, I'm just going to wire this in my hand so you can see both methods. I've got a 28 gauge wire, and again, when I cut my wires, I cut them on a 45-degree angle, so then I get a pinprick on the end of the wire, and it's not a straight cut, it's at an angle. I'm holding this then between my finger and thumb, pop in the wire. Now I can feel exactly on my thumb where it is. Push and twist, push and twist, push and twist. So I can feel that the wire is here until you get used to, hi from Libya, hello Libya, hello Canada, wow, this is fab, hi guys. So when you're new to flower making, go in a little bit further, go in halfways if you're comfortable to go in halfways, okay? And as you get more used to it, don't put the wire in quite as much into it, okay? Can you see the wire is poked through a little small bit there on me? So I've gone in a little bit too far, but actually don't scrap it. Don't ever scrap anything, because everything's fixable. So what you want to do is an angle tweezers, and this is one of my most used tools. I'm going to press down there in the tip of the wire. I'm going to pinch the paste over it. So I'm going to create a vein, if you like, where it's kind of come through. Press and squeeze that and just give that a little bit of a twist, okay? So you see, pops it back in for you, okay? Press that down, and once we go in with the veiner, it will, it'll get rid of that. So you just don't want it poking out. If you are, yes, Matthew, my flower paste is available worldwide, okay? So my website is sweetcreations.ie, and you can order online. Please be aware that I am in lockdown at the moment, so there will be a small delay on posting them out, because I'm not posting orders for 2 weeks. We're in lockdown in Ireland, so I'm just going to hold, and also respect for the postal workers. I don't want to send unnecessary stuff that there's more important things need to get out, isn't there? So wire into my veiner, press down, but don't press down too hard, okay? And just enough that you get those little veins, okay? And I'm aware there's a blue streak in this. I won't be using this petal. I just wanted to show you again how to use it, how to make one at least. Now we go on to the veining board here. Okay. Hi Uganda, Robina. Very nice to see you all. So we're just coming straight down, just a couple of rubs down along the length of the petal, and then across the tip. I just want to soften that a little small bit. Okay, so it's not crazy frilly. The Cosmos, actually, some of them are quite straight. If it's a thing, I have a habit, I frill petals quite a bit. Press that just with your finger at least, press around the edges. So if you've gone that it's a bit too frilly, it will, because it's still soft and fresh, it will go straight back down flat for you. Okay, and then I go into, we'll use this expensive former this time. So this is just tin foil, okay? and let that down. So I want to make sure that I get the cup in it. There is another former, and I'll be using it in next week's demonstration. I've got next week's demo lined up for you guys already, so I will be telling you more about that a little bit later on. Keep an eye for like sweet trays or chocolate boxes. Quite often they have nice small little cups, and they work brilliantly. I mean, you eat the chocolates, you know, hard job, but hey, you eat the chocolates and then you've got a little form for it. So, you know, crafters, I think we're crafty. Quite often I'll go into like a hardware shop or a DIY shop and think outside the box, and you get different ideas. So you can use different things. They don't always have to be purpose bought for the job that you want to do. Okay, so what we want to do then is we want to do a little bit of dusting. Now, generally what I actually do is I will make all of my petals first. Then I will clean down, and then I'll dust, because you know yourself, the dust, like they just travel for miles and miles. So I've made some and dusted them, and I'm going to dust up here now with you again as well on it, show you how to do it. So that would be my rule of thumb. I generally don't like dusting as I'm working, just for the simple reason that it just travels. It just tends to go everywhere, doesn't it? And you don't want, when you come to do your next flower, you don't want dust on the board or the foam pad or anything. You want it nice and clean. So actually what I have done and what I do is I have a dusting box. Okay, so basically what this is that it's just a small box, tissue paper in it. I've got my dusts here, and the brushes that I use would be flat or angled brushes. Okay, you get decent. That's my poor bedraggled green brush, so I keep some brushes for certain colours. It's my most used brush, you can tell, but we're good friends. It's come a long way with me, so I don't let it go. Hi from Buckingham. Hi Caroline. So this is what I do. So I've got the box, I've got the piece of tissue paper in it. Dusting powders, I don't have a set colour, a brand at least. I don't have any set brand that I use. I go by colour. So for example, I will have boxes of green, boxes of, look at this deliciousness, look at this. So all sorts of boxes of different, or pots of different colours. And depending on what I do, for example, greens are a funny colour. So greens are a funny colour because some of them have blues, so you've got to kind of check it. Claire, yes, 6 to 8 petals in your Cosmos flower, okay? I'm on, I don't know if any of you guys are on Pinterest, but Pinterest is amazing for inspiration and kind of ideas, and I've got tons of, if any of you guys are on it, it's my Pinterest, all of my social media is sweetcreations.ie. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter I don't do. I don't get Twitter. I can't, never understand it. But Facebook for me, or website, everything is sweetcreations.ie. It makes it nice and easy to remember. This is a Campion rose. Look at that. Whoo, nice and bright. Okay. So I just want a little small bit out on the tissue paper. I mean, literally just a teeny bit. Put the lid back on, because we've all had those instances where it travels then. Now you can choose, okay? So these petals here, I've done the dusting in the bottom. If you want to see some of the other guys here, can you see this one here? So I've pulled the dust from the top of the petal down in towards the center. This one here is the center out. So you can decide what way you want to dust the petal. I particularly love this one here. Okay. Yeah, hiding the wires, Julie, that poke through. So as I say, if you're having the problem that the wires keep on poking through, drop a size of the wire. So for example, if you were using a 26 gauge wire and the wires keep on poking through the petal on you, drop to a 28. Okay, so come up. Hi Greg, I hope you guys are okay over there, Greg. Great to see you. Yes, so just drop a size until you find that it's working then for you. So my petals are dry, and I prefer to dust them when they're dry. Let me just see. I don't know if you can see here. There's a small bit of a rough edge there on it. Just give that a rub with your finger, and that'll knock on any of those. Or if you were doing for competition work, you would use an emery board, and you can just file down those rough edges just so that they're nice and clean for you. Okay, and you can see they're quite straight petal. They're not frilly really at all. All right. What I do then is I'm going to take just a small bit of the dust, and like I say again, you choose what color that you want to do on it. So you can come from the center up, and I'm just putting a little bit of dust onto my tissue and up the center, and that's it. And you might kind of think, oh God, no, there's not enough on that, you know, or you want a little small bit more. Do I steam my petals, Tracy? I do steam them, yes, when I have everything done. Rubina, the recipe for my gum paste is actually my own brand of gum paste, so I don't, obviously I can't give out the recipe for it because it's one that I've developed myself, but it is my own brand of flower paste, so if you don't mind, but it is available. So yeah, you kind of think, oh, there's not really much dusting on it, you know, so, but actually when you finish it all and you put all your petals together, you'll find that you've plenty on it. So I'm just coming from the center and I'm fading it up, and I've barely any dust on the brush. I just dust it and kind of take it back off again. All right. Or what you can do is, if you want, you can dust from the top down, and this is why I use flat brushes, because they will catch it an awful lot better. All right, and you don't want too long a bristle brush. If it's a very long bristle brush, you end up the dust end up going everywhere. It's so lightweight. So that's doing from the top down, and I'll just give that a small little tickle of dust there, front and back. Generally, don't forget the backs of the petals, because quite often in an arrangement on a cake, you can see the front and backs of all the flowers really. All right. Okay. So that's your dusting method. If I was going to steam, and Tracy, if I was going to steam my flowers, generally what I do is I actually make the whole entire flower, do all my dusting, and then I steam it at the very, very end. So I don't steam as I go. I don't steam the petals one at a time. Okay, so you can see it's just little touches, and quite often these colors here were colors that I was using for a rose that I made yesterday. So quite often I can dip in and out and I can blend my own colors. Now, little thing for you, if you're doing these, I'm not sure if you're all cakers, but if you were making these flowers for a wedding cake, let's say, what I would do is I would make, so if we want 6 or 8 petals for the flower, I would make 10 or 12. Okay, so you know, you don't want to, because that'd be sod's law that one would break on you. All right, so I would make 10 or 12 of them, and I would actually just have an extra one, or you might have one that's not quite so good, or you'll have got a spare one then for testing out your dust and testing out your colors, so you can decide, well, I prefer it dusted. Let me just pull these two. So I prefer it dusted from the center out or from the top in. And you can decide then, so you'll have a couple of spares. So if I'm doing a flower for a cake, I don't do cakes. I only do the toppers and the sugar flowers, and I sell them and I send them all over the world. But if I was doing a cake for, when I used to do wedding cakes, I would make a couple extras, so then you have choice. However, if I'm doing competition work, I will make double. So I'll always make an extra couple of flowers. I'll make double the amount of petals that I want. So for example, and Greg, you can probably testify to this, you're an amazing competitor as well. But if I'm doing it for a competition, I'll make double the amount of petals that I want, because I'll definitely discard a third that are not right, they're not up to standard. And then I want a couple for testing out my colours on them, and then there'll be always a few breakages. So I'll make double what I actually want. So I end up doing marathon flower making sessions, but it is good. And I don't know if any of the rest of you guys compete. I know some of you do. Some of the Irish girls here, we have we only had our Irish Sugarcraft show for the end of where are we, March, the end of February. Okay, so only a few weeks ago we just had our Irish Sugarcraft show, and we've got incredible competitors here in Ireland and all over the world, and then a big crowd of us travel. Yeah, the more petals, the more choice when assembling, Greg. Absolutely, yeah. It's important to have plenty of extra and plenty assembled, because they'll sit differently then as well for you. So yeah, That's the thing on competitions. You want choice. You want to have extra. There'll always be a little hole or a little gap or something that you want to fill. So use those. So I've got my selection of petals here, and you can see the difference then on the dusting techniques. So the middle and the top. You choose. You absolutely choose what you want. And sometimes actually, if you're doing these for a cake and you want to have if it's a very strong colour, you just maybe want a little tip of it. It can be enough just to show off the colour. You know how some of the colours for wedding bridesmaids dresses and that, they're a very strong colour. So if it is a strong colour, you can make a pale coloured petal and then a very strong edge on it. So just enough to sort of show it off. All right. Now what you want to do is you want to pick your center. And if you've just come in on this, I've showed you how I make these stamens at the very beginning. So this video will be saved, and obviously you'll be able to go back through it and pause it and everything. I had a bit of a drama at the beginning here. My computer is all still frozen. I can see comments, but I can't see the video. Okay, so but you're all seeing these. That's the important part. So I've showed you how I make all the stamens, and then my petals, as I say, 6 or 8 petals for it. Okay, so to tape this together, I'm using here, this is the lime green half width tape. So when you buy this tape, you'll buy it in a full width roll, which is basically double the width of this, and you can buy it in lots of different colors. If you buy half width roll, it will give you 2 rolls pre-cut, so you get 2 rolls of this thickness in the packet. The full width tape you have to cut yourself. Okay, Maria McDermott will celebrate in Birmingham. You're damn right, girl. Actually, we'll celebrate in Cork before we get to Birmingham, Maria. We'll be there. So with any of the tape, as it goes, when you take it off the roll, it's dry and there's not much happening. What you've got to do is you've got to stretch the tape. Can you hear? Now it's sticky. So that's the clack. You want that clacky sound. Okay, we're going to take a little piece of tape, the tape. I've stretched it out, and I only stretch out a couple of inches as I go. Okay, so we're going to just tape this on just to get it started. Mary, hi for Colombia. Okay, okay, this guy has a nice recipe. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure their recipes. So I'm just adding on the tape just to start off the paste, okay, or start off the wiring. What I do then is I take the petal and I'm bending it here where the thing, don't hold your petals here by the tip because they can break. Hold it down at the base, that's where your wire is, so it'll be stronger. Pop on a petal, okay, and I'm going to just add my petals now. So I'm bending it, and I'm adding the next petal, just tuck one inside the other, give it a twirl, okay, and until you literally come the whole way around. Pop this on, and each time I'm adding it on and I'm just turning it, and because they're all wired, you've got that movement, you can still come back and move them. Okay, so that's 5, and you just keep add it on. Until you get used to this, you can just add a petal on and give it a turn around. But actually, what you want to do is you want to try and add on a couple and then turn it, for the simple reason that if you add one petal, tape it, what happens is you end up with a very thick here at the back of it, and you don't want that. You don't want it too thick. All right. So then you can just separate these around, okay, and get them into position. What we do then is down the back, and all the time I'm right-handed. So my left hand is holding the tape. Here's how I hold, okay? So my left hand is holding the tape, my right and twirling. My right hand is really only holding the wire, but it's actually my lead hand. So I'm twirling that. Now, what I want to do is, I don't want these petals, some of them might wobble. You see this guy here is wobbling about. What you'll do is take each wire, pull it down, tighten that, leave the leg of it out now. Come to the next one, pull that down, tighten it. Don't pull it too hard. This is flour paste, it's not concrete, okay? Leave the leg out, so I know those 2 now are done. And just give it a nice, Sarah, yes, this is the Cosmos flour, a nice little tighten up, and it basically just tightens all your petals into place. Okay, then you can just pull those straight back down the wire and twist this back up to the top, and I tear it off each time. And my left hand is pulling that tape to release the glue down along each time. Okay, so now I can go back and I can just get them all into their position. So you get this nice and twirled. Okay, back of it here. And you can see now the dusting, so you probably were thinking, oh, maybe it's, as I said to you, you're not adding in a lot of dust to it, but actually a little bit is very effective, especially when it's the stronger colours. If I was doing an all white Cosmos, what I would do is where I have the pink here, I would use a lime green. So this one here is a fabulous lime green. So I would use the lime green, but only for a couple of mil up each petal, instead of the pink if you're doing an all white Cosmos. And the lime green shows you that fresh growth, the freshness of it, because there no petals in any flower are solid white. There's always that little touch of colour on it. Okay, so then very quickly I want to just show you how I make the leaves, but they're a very peculiar thing. The leaf of them is, this is a nice quick way of making a leaf, and it's a nice commercial way of making a leaf, part of it, all right? So you're going to take your tape, and again, this is the lime green of it. Now you'll notice I always tear my tape, I don't cut it. If I cut it, if I tear it, I should say, it's just got a rough edge on it, okay? So it gives you, what I'm doing is I'm just giving it a twist. And if your hands, my hands are cold, so just a little bit of corn flour. So give that a twist. There we go. Twist, twist. About an inch-ish. Come down, tear that off. Okay, let's just show you again. Piece of tape, I'm pulling that out to release the glue, giving it a twist. Twist it. All right, about an inch. Come down, tear it off. That's all you have to do, okay? What you're going to do then is you're going to take a carrier wire. Sandra, hi Joanne. Sandra, I make it look easy. I'm having a bit of a mare here today. The computer is frozen on me, but we'll carry on regardless, because I know you can see me on the phone at least. So I'll make a series of these guys here. So I'm pulling down the tape to get that spidery effect kind of on it, and this works well for, you know, the new great growth, at least on ivy leaves, the wispy little parts. So it works great. You can do it obviously in any colour, but for this we want the green. All right, now I'm going to take carrier wire. So this here is about a 28 gauge wire. Again, my wires, all of our florist wires, they come in about 14-inch lengths. Okay, so I cut them in 4. Okay, so I'm going to take one and I'm going to pop that onto the top, twist. So now it's attached. So that little leg that you left on the bottom, you don't need your roll of tape. That little leg there that you've left on the bottom of it is enough to stick on. So just give that a couple of twists so you can see. And I'm coming down along the wire. Okay, so you see now I've got 3 of them on. I'm just going to move them a little bit. I'm curling those over my finger just to get a bit of movement on them, because they're not straight up. And what I'll do is I'll make a few of those just at the different stages of it. Okay, so I'm just going to use now a couple more of those. Okay, so as I said to you at the beginning, what I will be doing is I'm going to keep continuing these demonstrations if you'd like me to. And I know I asked earlier in the week on the page if people wanted to suggest any flowers that they wanted. Absolutely no problem. I will, I'll do my best. I will show you any of the techniques that I know how to, on how to make the flowers, and hopefully, you know, we can all share different techniques, different things. There's lots and lots of new pages where people are sharing their techniques and how to make different flowers, different cake toppers. There's so many of them. So if you would like me to see flowers, I know some of you guys already suggested some earlier today. So that's not a problem. I am putting a program together. I've next week's one actually prepped and ready to go. So next Sunday at 8 o'clock, I will be showing you how to make orchids. Okay, and I'll show you in a second my orchid piece. So look, I won't stay flapping at them and showing you how to suck eggs with them. All right, what I'll do then is I'll get on and I'll finish this up because the time is gone. So you've got your flower all taped up, that's done. What you want to do now is you want to add on these little leaf parts. So I'm going taking some tape, place that on where I want it to go, and because it's on the carrier wire, remember, comes up to here. So now I can make this, and I'm just giving it a couple of twirls around, add in the next one. I'm giving that a small bend out. Okay. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Rabina, everybody. Martina Cunningham, yes, please, Sheraton. You're always here for every party. How's everyone doing? Is everyone doing all right? I've decided that, you know, this is a time to upscale, to learn new skills. I've made loads of new friends. Had a pub quiz last night. A virtual one with 20 crazy Irish and English and I don't know where else, were from France and everywhere people. And we had a pub quiz. There was drink involved, but it was good fun. We didn't win, didn't answer very many questions correctly. I can tell you that. Rini, my darling, stay safe. I hope you're okay. I will see you in Birmingham for sure. Okay. So you just add on the pieces, and I'm just stepping down the stem as it comes. And so go back now, you want to fix these. Now, I can't remember who asked me about the steaming, but this now is when I would steam. So for anyone who doesn't know what the steaming is basically, I have a cake steamer, or you can just boil the kettle and literally wipe it in the steam. Just, that's it. And it just sets all the colour, it makes it all pop and everything. All right. And it just sets all those colours for you. And what you can do then is that you want to give it a little bit of movement. So it shouldn't be, I mean, generally flowers are not straight up. So just let me show you here all the different angles of it. It's a great little stem. I love these little pieces here. So let me just try to show you this. So, hello. This here is the Cosmos one that I made during the week for you guys. So you can see all the little parts here. This guy now will pop in alongside, and you see the little, go a bit close, see the little pieces? So they're actually quite effective if you have, so let's say it's up against a cake and you can see the little pieces, they're quite effective of it. Okay. Any of you that are asking questions, I will go back through it all now afterwards, and I'll answer any questions just in case that I have missed any of them. Is that okay? I just want to show you here, this one here. Actually, hang on. Let me just, hello. Let me just, here, this. These here are the orchids that I'm going to be doing next week. Now, I will do them in a different colour, but these are the orchids that I'm going to be making for you guys for next week. This piece here is Latina. This is the lady that was meant to go to Wales last year to the Welsh Cake Show. I had her ready, as you can see, and she was to be entered in the headpiece competition. And then a storm blew up and the boat didn't sail the weekend, so I had to sit at home. But this is the lady that I was bringing. I adore her, absolutely love her. So these orchids, I'm going to show you how I make these then next weekend. All right. These here are just some other bits and pieces. Roses, there is a demonstration that I did last weekend on how I make my sugar roses. So that's those guys there. Okay. And some different ones with roses. And these ones here, these are chrysanthemums. The chrysanthemums I can't show you because I learnt these in a class and I can't show somebody else's class techniques. So that won't be happening, at least until I get my own techniques going. All right, and this one here. And this here, this is my Lola. So this piece I made for the Irish Sugarcraft Show, and she won me a golden best in class. This is my Lola. And actually this piece I made, I did Emma Jane. Everyone knows Emma Jane Cake Design. I did her class last year with Tanya in Novelty Cakes in Moat, and that was the piece that I made. So guys, that's me. Thank you so much for watching. I apologize for all the technical issues at the very start. Really appreciate you coming. This video will be saved onto my Facebook page, obviously, and you'll be able to have a look back at it and go through the bits and pieces again. I do hope you enjoyed it. Next week, as I say, Sunday nights for the foreseeable, I'm going to keep on doing demonstrations. If you'd like to join in, I'd really love to see you there, or you can message me or add on a link here on the post on the page at least as to what colour, what flowers that you'd like me to do, and I can do those. Absolutely no problem at all. Thank you so much, everybody. Hope everybody is safe. Hope everybody is well. I know it's getting scary now. I now know 2 people that have it, so this is getting pretty real, but we will come through this. We're all in the same canoe, we're all in the same creek, so let's get through this together and enjoy. If you have any questions, please ask. I'll go through all the comments and I will answer them all as best as I can. Thanks so much, guys. Take care, and I will see you next week. I'll see you during the week, but I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.